Hi everyone, this is a brief informational video about the Faculty of Sciences internship subjects. My name's Matt Atkins and I coordinate the faculty's internship program. You can feel free to email me anytime via the email address at the bottom of the screen and yeah, I'm happy to respond to any of your internship related questions. That email address is science-industry-internships@unimelb.edu.au. Okay, so why do an internship? Well, firstly, the simplest answer to that is you can gain course credit whilst undertaking an industry placement. Lots of people want to do an internship of some form while they study at university, and this allows you to actually count it towards your degree via course credit. Um, you can gain hands-on real-world experience in a professional environment, explore industries or sectors of interest to you, and test drive potential careers. You can network with potential employers. Now, some students who do an internship via one of our internship subjects do go on to be offered ongoing employment with their host organizations. So that's not necessarily the end goal, but that is quite a common occurrence. So that's a really great outcome, obviously. You can increase your confidence in your ability to contribute to a science-related workplace and develop your awareness of your professional strengths, as well as areas to further develop beyond your degree. And you can really enhance your employability skills, including communication, interpersonal, analytical and problem-solving skills, organizational and time management skills. And it's a great way to really dive in and start planning your career. So we'll take a look at each of the internship subjects individually here. We'll start with the science and technology internship subject, which is available to undergraduate students, and that's called SCIE 30002. And for master's level students, which is SCIE 90017. You need to check the handbook for who's the subject coordinator for this subject because they do change semi-regularly. It's offered summer, semester 1, semester 2, and it requires 80 to 100 placement hours. 80 is the firm cutoff for the minimum number, but if it goes slightly above 100 hours, that's fine. We do really encourage for the placements to be between 80 to 100 hours though. It's a 12.5 point subject and it accrues, regular 12.5 point tuition fees. The placement can be inside or outside of Australia. It's not open to all master's students. You need to check the handbook to see if your particular degree is eligible, but it is open to all Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Biomed students as a level 3 subject. It's important to note though, it is not a breadth subject. This is a science credited subject only. So prior to enrollment and commencing your placement, you need to secure a suitable host organization and then apply via the online portal. Next, we have the ecosystem internship subject. The subject coordinator for this subject is Dr. Antanas Bokovicius. I hope I got that right, Antanas. It is offered summer, semester 1, semester 2. It requires 200 placement hours. This is typically done over 5 weeks on a full-time basis. It's 25 credit points, and the placement must be within Australia. Again, it's not open to all master's level students. You need to check the handbook to see if your degree is eligible. And prior to commencing work, again, you're responsible for securing a placement, but the important step here is you really need to contact Antanas and have a discussion with him to ensure that your placement is suitable before progressing to submitting your online application for the subject. Okay, next we have the International Internship in Environment. The subject coordinator for this subject is Professor Rodney Keenan. Again, it's offered summer, semester 1 and semester 2. It's a 200-hour work placement, 25-point subject. Placements for this subject must be outside of Australia. Again, it's not open to all master's courses. You need to check the handbook to see if you're eligible. And it's the same process as the ecosystem internship, whereby you need to first contact Rodney and have him agree to the placement that you have that you would like to undertake before submitting your online form to apply for the subject. Okay, so assessments. You need to check the handbook for the subject of relevance to you because assessments are slightly different for each of them. But for each of these subjects, they take place entirely online. So whilst your placement might be an in-person placement, some placements will take place entirely virtually, and that's perfectly fine. Other placements will be in person, but the actual academic element of these subjects are entirely online. The majority of the assessments are reflective. So by that, I mean, we're not interested if the work that you're undertaking within your placement is a success or not. This is about reflecting on your professional development. And some of these subjects do have pre-placement compulsory modules on the LMS. So good to be aware of that before you get started. Let's look at some of the frequently asked questions. Can I do an internship without the subject? So yes, you're very welcome to undertake an internship outside of the context of a 4-credit subject. However, you need to note that that internship will need to be paid. Whereas within an internship subject, you can undertake either a paid or an unpaid internship. If it's outside of a 4-credit subject, it does need to be paid in order to adhere to the Fair Work Act. You'll technically be an employee of that organization and you need to be paid accordingly. Next, can I do a placement outside of my major? Yes, absolutely. You're encouraged to think outside the box on that. There may be some more restrictions around that for the 200-hour, 25 credit point subjects, but you can discuss the intricacies of that with the subject coordinators for those subjects. Typically though, yes, absolutely, you're welcome to intern outside of the boundaries of your major. Next, I've already started or completed an internship. Can I count this towards the subject? No, that's a hard no for that one. This is really due to insurance because we send a letter agreement to your host organization that activates insurance so that you're covered when you're on placement. If you've already commenced, then that cannot be activated. So it's just a hard no on that. Next question, can I intern with an organization where I have previously interned or worked? Typically no. And that's really because a key learning outcome of the subject is the sourcing of the placement, which replicates the real world job market. So if you've already done this step, then that's a key element of the work for the subject that you'll be skipping. If the organization where you've previously interned or worked is large and it has many different, departments, and you would be interning in a completely separate department, reporting to a completely different supervisor, then that will be considered on a case-by-case basis. So under some circumstances, yes, it will be approved. Typically, though, it would not be approved. Next question, can I do a virtual or online internship? Yes, absolutely. This has been very popular, particularly during COVID, and you're very welcome to intern either in person or entirely online. Tasks you can undertake on your internship. So it's important to remember that on your placement, you're not just there to, make coffee and run errands. You're there to gain actual work experience. So here are some types of experiences that previous students have undertaken. Working on a living systematic review on COVID-19 in children. Working with climatologists to research extreme sea levels. Contributing to biodiversity conservation and research activities, including field surveys and mapping. Reviewing and contributing to the development of environmental government policy and legislation. Researching and providing literature reviews to contribute to major consulting projects. Conducting assurance and advisory work across a range of sustainability areas. Laboratory work, performing gene and protein expression studies on mammalian cells and modifying DNA. Some of these are very research focused, but you can also, again, step outside the box. You could be contributing to an organization's business development strategy, working on a social media strategy or marketing initiatives. You could be working in something more sort of IT related, like doing a user experience testing, or developing new sort of customer interface. We really encourage you to think laterally about the types of opportunities you could be undertaking. Key dates. Okay, you need to check the website for the specific key dates for your semester, but these are approximate key dates. Summer term. The earliest that you can commence a placement in summer is late November. And by late November, I mean after semester 2 exam period. And the latest conclusion date, the latest that you can finish your placement is by mid-February or before the summer exam period. You can see when the exam periods are for each semester by Googling UniMelb key dates, and there's a website which lays out all of the exam periods. Semester 1, earliest commencement is early February, and latest conclusion is late May before SWOT back. Semester 2, earliest commencement is July after the semester 1 exam period, and the latest conclusion is late October before the SWOT back period. You'll note that there is no winter intake. So you are very welcome to undertake a placement in winter. You would just need to enroll in semester 2. So some students will complete an entire internship over the winter break, but because you'll be enrolled in semester 2, you'll actually be submitting your assessments during semester 2. Another important thing to pay attention to is that our cutoff dates are earlier than the census date. This is because we need to factor in time to send legal agreements to your host organization to have them signed and returned to us before you're able to commence your placement. So for that reason, the cutoff dates to apply for the subject are earlier than the census date. An important thing to note for international students, most international students will be in the country on a temporary entry visa, and this temporary entry visa limits you to working no more than 40 hours per fortnight. This isn't a university rule, this is just government legislation. So that 40 hours per fortnight limit includes internships, and it doesn't matter if the internship is paid or unpaid. So it's for any internship or paid employment within Australia. So the university has a website. If you just Google UniMelb working on a student visa, you'll find a website which explains some of the details around this. And this lists a number of degrees that have a mandatory work experience component. So if your degree has a mandatory work experience component, you are not bound by this 40 hours per fortnight rule. For the Faculty of Science, the only courses that this is of relevance to are master's level courses, but they include biotechnology, computational biology, data science, ecosystem management and conservation, environmental science. So if you are in one of those courses, you shouldn't be bound by the 40 hours per fortnight rule. For all other students, you will be bound by that 40 hours per fortnight rule. So check out that website, Working on a Student Visa. And if you have any further questions around this, you should feel free to contact Stop One to discuss further. So once you've found your placement, here's what you need to do. You need to add this internship subject to your study plan. You won't be able to enroll yet. There's several steps that have to happen before you're able to enroll. The second step is to apply for the subject. So you click on the Apply for the Subject Here link on the Internships webpage. You need to allow at least a week between the time you apply for the subject and when your placement commences. This is so that we can send those legal documents that I was talking about previously and to have them returned by the host organization. You need to include a confirmation letter or email on your subject application. So by this, I mean, it either needs to be an offer letter on company letterhead that specifies your start date and your end date of your placement, and that outlines the key tasks that you'll be undertaking on your placement. That can either be on a letter in company letterhead, or it can be a sort of PDF of an email chain that shows your supervisor's email address and phone number, and that outlines that same information that I just stated. So either one of those is fine, email or letter on company letterhead. Next, once your application has been approved, we will contact you and your host with legal paperwork. Once we receive that paperwork back from you and your host, will notify you that you can enroll in the subject. Then you need to complete any pre-placement modules via the LMS, and then you're ready to start your internship. You cannot start your placement until all of these steps have been completed. That's really important. Some things to remember. To get credit for your internship, you must apply for the subject through the website after you've secured your placement. You need an email or letter on letterhead as proof of your internship to apply. So again, that can be a letter on company letterhead or an email, but it needs to include your start and end date of your placement and outline the key tasks that you'll be undertaking. This needs to be in English. Even if your placement is taking place overseas, this offer letter needs to be in English. This is because we will be sending legal documentation to your host supervisor to sign, and we need to be confident that they understand that document in English and that they're able to digest it. So somebody from your host organization does need to be able to communicate in English. You cannot enroll until we tell you to. We'll let you know when it's time to do so. Your placement can be paid or unpaid, though there are insurance implications for both options. So either are fine. If you're unpaid, you're entirely covered by the university's insurance. If you are undertaking a paid internship, you're technically a paid employee of your host organization, and therefore you're covered by the host organization's insurance. Your internship dates must fit in the dates we've provided. These are flexible, but they do need to roughly fit within semester 1, semester 2, or summer. It's highly advisable that you start planning at least one semester in advance. It can take a while to source an internship and to get the ball rolling. So if you start a while in advance, you'll be thankful for it. So how to go about finding an internship. Finding a placement yourself is an important part of the learning experience of the subject. For that reason, we aren't able to provide you with a list of companies who have previously taken interns or lists of companies working in your field. This is all part of the learning experience. Just like the real job market, sourcing a placement can be challenging and it takes time, but we encourage you to use these resources. So firstly, the LMS Careers and Employability community. If you haven't checked that out yet, it's really fantastic. You should look at it. There's a module on that Careers and Employability community on the LMS called How to Get an Internship, which is really valuable. That's a great place to start. Next, look for advertised roles. You can just use traditional career job boards for this, like Grad Australia, Grad Connection, LinkedIn, and of course the Careers Online job board. So you can look for unpaid or paid positions, remember, because this is a 4-credit internship. Job Search Strategies Guide on Employ Me. There's heaps of helpful tips and tricks there for how to find an internship. Next, you can research Australian organisations and appropriate contacts on Company 360. This is a database available through the library. So if you go to the library website and then search their databases for Company 360, this is a really fantastic resource. If there's a company that you think you would like to intern in, you can find some really fantastic information about them, including key contacts using this database. Careers Online. There's a science internships work group. So if you're eligible to undertake a 4-credit internship subject, we will add you to a special work group on Careers Online, which will give you access to any university-sourced internship opportunities that come through us. So the vast majority of students who are doing an in-curricular internship subject will self-source their internships, but on a rare occasion, employers will come to us and they'll say, we're looking for X number of students for this internship project. And we can promote those opportunities to you, and we'll do so via Careers Online in the Science Internships workgroup. Next, if none of these things have been fruitful, book a one-to-one consultation with the Careers Employability Studio. They are currently doing them online, but when we're back on campus, they take face-to-face meetings as well. And that's a fantastic way to get some advice. So that's it from me. Good luck on your internship journey. Once again, you can feel free to reach out to me on science-industry-internships@unimelb.edu.au, and I'm happy to provide further information. Thanks for listening.